So my name is Heinecke. I am 25 years old. I grew up here in Fayetteville, Georgia. I played baseball at Stars Mill High School for 4 years. I then signed and went to play at Wofford College in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I pitched there for 3 years. After my junior year, I was selected in the 13th round by the St. Louis Cardinals of the 2021 MLB draft, and I decided to leave school and go play. I went down to Palm Beach, Florida to the Cardinals spring training site for my first year, and then I went back to Palm Beach for my true rookie year, 2022, where I pitched for the Palm Beach Cardinals in the Florida State League. And I pitched the majority of that season before I ended up tearing my UCL. You know, it's a huge commitment for an 18, 19-year-old kid leaving high school and going to college. That was the biggest adjustment that I had to make. I do believe that it all is for the better, because you learn to have that disciplined schedule and you learn to manage your time better, because quite frankly, if you don't, you'd probably either flunk out or get cut from the team. But yeah, all the time that you spend, all the time that you sacrifice, it's really worth it, and I really enjoyed it. And that part of my life kind of sculpted who I am now, professionally and business-wise. And then kind of going from college to the pros was, it was a little bit more foreseeable for me. I kind of knew what my path was going to be, getting into the minor leagues in 2021. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew what to expect. I knew where I was going to go, what my daily regimen was going to be like. Anything on the field didn't really change. My routine as a baseball player didn't change at all when I went from college to the pros. The biggest differences for me in pro ball was the autonomy. Even in college, you're on a team with 20 to 30 guys who you consider your close friends. In the minor leagues, man, it's kind of fend for yourself, one-man army. There's not. I wouldn't necessarily call every single guy in that dugout one of your friends. So that was definitely an adjustment, having to adjust, being more focused on the individual rather than being in a team setting in the games. I think the minor league season was 154 games, 6 days a week. You get Mondays off. You're on the field 8-9 hours a day. In South Florida, it can tend to drain on you a little bit. Yeah, it was a great experience, and like I said, going from college to the pros, there were some things that kind of caught me unexpectedly, but for the most part, all the habits that I'd formed in college just rolled straightly into pro ball, right? Yeah, so the draft process was weird, especially for me going through COVID. The year before that was the COVID year, and I was navigating that draft and all the negotiations, and it was a lot. So I came back my junior year, kind of a little bit more seasoned, because I went through being draft eligible as a sophomore because I was older than most of the kids my age. But I'm trying to think of the word. It's a lot of, there's a scout from each MLB team. There's 30 MLB scouts sitting in the stands behind you. I didn't throw a pitch off of a pitcher's mound from the time I was 20 to probably about the time I was 24, where there wasn't 30 guys sitting behind home plate judging whether I was doing a good job or not. So the scouting part, you got to meet all those guys, form relationships with them. Every organization's a little bit different in what they do for minor leaguers and what they want. Being scrutinized is the word that I'm looking for. You kind of get used to it. But yeah, like I said, developing relationships with different organizations, kind of getting to know what they're about. Ironically, I interviewed with 29 of the 30 Major League Baseball teams, and the one team that I didn't interview with was the St. Louis Cardinals, and they ended up drafting me. So you never really, on draft day, there's 3 days to it, and you really, guys who get drafted in the first round kind of know, but other than that, man, it's at the toss of a hat. You know, I was sitting in the house for 3 days straight, just waiting for the phone to ring. My agent would call me and say, "Hey, we got you an offer here. I think I can get you a better offer there." And yeah, you just kind of wait until the right opportunity presents itself. Yeah, finally being drafted was such a surreal experience. Like I said, you spend 3-4 years of your life sacrificing it all, working, training, trying to find a way to become that level of athlete, or at least I had to do because I wasn't as talented as some of these kids. Man, it was such a liberating feeling, and to work for something that memorable for such a long time and for it to pay off, it was really special. So yeah, I hope every kid gets to experience it. But unfortunately, it wouldn't be as sought after if it was that easy. So you got to work. Getting into pro ball when you're 23 versus getting into it when you're 18 years old, fresh out of high school, you've got 5 years on the older kid who went to college and has never experienced minor league baseball. And from an economical standpoint, if you can get a good deal out of the team that's going to draft you, which if a major league team's going to draft a kid out of high school, they're going to give them a good deal. These contracts also include tuition. So I went to college for 3 years. The contract that I signed, it was required for them to pay for me to finish my bachelor's degree. So you have a kid who is committed somewhere out of high school. Baseball in college doesn't offer full scholarships, right? So you're paying some money out of pocket, right? And kind of fitting now that I'm a financial advisor, you can argue that a kid bypassing college and going straight to pro ball, whether he makes it or not, whether he makes it to the big leagues and makes tens, hundreds of millions of dollars or never touches the field, he's got free tuition, and he's got a way to improve his quality of life and get somewhere that he needs to go outside of baseball. Man, work your tail off. Work your tail off. You really got to be obsessed with it. I'd tell a high school kid to first and foremost, develop physicality. It's probably about a 200-pound threshold that you need to be over. If you don't weigh 200 pounds, you probably can't kick it with some of those big guys. I tell a kid to get his physicality in check, and whether he wants to, depending on where he wants to play on the field and what he wants to do, find somebody who's done it before and attach yourself to them and learn and be a sponge of information, and you kind of develop your routine and your habits and what molds you as a player by learning from others, or at least that was my experience. So that's what I tell a kid, and stay in school.